Hello everyone, I am Dharmendra Kumar. In this video we will discuss about the dyeing of acrylic fiber with dispersed dye. Before discussing this topic, we just summarize what was studied in acrylic dyeing before this video. We had already discussed the concept, mechanism, use of various chemicals like retarders and their function in basic dyeing of the acrylic fiber, and also discussed some basic properties of the acrylic fiber, that is its thermosetting nature of the fiber and its glass transition temperature, its role, and its compact structure's impact on the dyeing property. As you know, dispersed dye is generally applied on the man-made fiber, we can say synthetic fiber. Generally, dispersed dye is attached to fiber via some sort of hydrogen bond, van der Waals forces, but the maximum the main force which retain the dispersed dye on in fiber structure is the mechanical interaction of dispersed dye molecule inside the fabric structure. Once fabric structure is open, dispersed dye molecule penetrate inside the structure. After sufficient opening, the required amount of dispersed dye molecule is penetrated inside, and then we collapse the structure by cooling the temperature of the dye bath. That's way the dye molecules will interact inside the fiber structure. In this way, we can dye the acrylic fiber also, because it is a man-made fiber. But there is an issue in case of a acrylic fiber due to its thermostatic nature and its high glass transition temperature. The dyeing with dispersed dye is not possible with deep shade or medium shade, but yes, we can dye the acrylic fiber in light shade with using dispersed dye. So what are the concepts involved in this process, means the acrylic fiber dyeing with dispersed dye, and what are the limitations? Similar to polyester dyeing, mechanism of fixation of the dye as we just discussed, but production of heavy shade is restricted as solubility of dye in polymer is low, and fiber has lower saturation value. That's why fastness property are acceptable. In case of acrylic fiber with dispersed dye has lower solubility in acrylic fiber, as well as acrylic fiber has lower saturation value for dispersed dye. That's why this process is only limited up to light shade on acrylic fiber. Now we will discuss about the dyeing process. Dye is pasted with dispersing agent. Water is added, followed by acetic acid to maintain the pH of dye bath around 4.5 to 5.5. Then fabric is entered in the bath at 40 degrees centigrade. Temperature is raised slowly to boil, and dyeing is continued for 60 to 90 minutes, depend on depth of the shade. As we say, there is only possibility of the light shade. Dyeing may be carried out by HTHP method, as that used for polyester, with the pressure of 3.5 kg per centimeter square at 125 to 130 degrees centigrade for the 30 minute time. After dyeing, bath is cooled down and discharged, followed by soaping and washing. But under practical situations, dispersed dyes are never applied on polyacrylonitrile, as medium and dark shade can never be built up, as well as excessive shrinkage occurs beyond 110 degrees centigrade, and 110 degrees centigrade, that is approximately 20 degrees lesser than the required dyeing temperature. That's why shades are dull with poor sublimation fastness, but good light fastness can be achieved. But the good light fastness, washing fastness, and gas fading property. But the much issue is about the shrinkage and the fiber strength, because after 110 degrees centigrade, as you know, acrylic fiber starts to degradation. That's why dispersed dyeing on acrylic fiber, dispersed dye is not preferred for dyeing of acrylic fiber. Now we will discuss about some newly developed technologies or methods for the dispersed dyeing on acrylic fiber. One method is named as diphtherum process, which is developed by BASF, one of the prestigious chemical industries. Earlier, In this method, dyeing is started at here. This is a constant temperature dyeing method. Here, temperature of dyeing is constant. That's why it's called a constant temperature dyeing method. In this dyeing method, dyeing is started at 85 degrees centigrade and maintained constant, because there is a dyeing is started at the constant temperature. That's why there is no way to increase the temperature. So dyeing temperature is reduced on the basis of the fiber denier and vice versa. If the fiber denier is fiber is finer, then the temperature of dyeing is reduced as fiber. If the fiber is coarser, then the temperature of the dyeing should be increased. Because as finer fibers have large surface area, and so rate of dyeing will be much higher at a lower temperature also. That's why for the coarser fiber we need higher temperature, for the finer fiber we need lower temperature, but it is around at 85 degrees centigrade standard, and after that the increase or decrease depends on the denier of the fiber. One more method, estrogen rapid dyeing techniques. It is developed by Bayer. Bayer is one of the another chemical industry. In this method, dyeing is started at constant temperature, but depending on the dye fiber surface, depending on the dye fiber system, succeeds by rising in it by 2 degrees centigrade per 5 minutes to 100 degrees centigrade or beyond that. Rate of exhaustion of bath is controlled by adding suitable retarder. Here we can say the difference between constant dyeing temperature and rapid dyeing temperature is that in the constant dyeing temperature is constant, but in case of rapid dyeing temperature, dyeing is starting at a dyeing temperature. After that, dyeing is started at constant temperature, but after that there should be a slight temperature raise up to 100 degrees centigrade. That's in this way the rate of exhaustion of bath is controlled by adding suitable retarder, because after 85 degrees centigrade the rate of dyeing will be higher, so it can be controlled by using suitable retarder. In this way we will discuss about the dyeing of acrylic fiber in all the 5 this topic will be completed in the 5 videos.